today I want to talk about it really pisses me off when it comes to elimination diets and magic bullets. Now, especially concerning people when they've got a chronic issue. So for anyone who wants to know what a chronic issue is, it's an issue that's been ongoing for longer than probably 6 months, 3 to 4 to 6 months. Any of you out there that are taking medication, that have been on it for ages, you've got a chronic condition. All these can be resolved by diet and lifestyle factors, but if you want to take medication, it's up to you. But chronic issues, especially if you're dealing with skin issues, gut issues, thyroid issues, adrenal problems, chronic fatigue, etc., then all these people that come to me and they've been on these elimination diets, or they've taken these magic bullets, and they say, well, I did alright when I was on the diet, but then when I come off it, it came back, or it slowly came back. My psoriasis slowly came back, or my acne came back. But when I was on the diet, it was okay. Yeah, because when you're on a diet, you eliminated certain foods and you put in certain properties, concentrated nutrients that really did help the body. But you didn't do the vital thing, which is, I always bang on about, changing the terrain, modifying your terrain, and continually detoxing the body and changing your lifestyle factors. Now, it's all good. This is why I've always gone about the FODMAP, other diets that are out there. People go on them and they're like, well, what are you going to do? Just continue to not have those fermented foods for the rest of your life, or do you want to change your internal terrain so you can start to eat whatever foods you want? Otherwise, people by very nature, they're always going to go back to wanting to eat the foods that they love. So if you've got to do that, you've got to change your internal terrain. It's like people who start putting, for example, aloe vera on their skin, or they start having turmeric internally, and they think it's going to start curing the cancer, things like essential oils, all on their own. You think you can take one thing like turmeric and continue to live a life of eating processed foods, sugars, or whatever, and it's going to stop cancer, even cannabis oil, then you are sadly mistaken. All these things work in conjunction with each other. But it really winds me up, especially when I've got clients coming to me and saying, well, this is what I've been doing. And I always say, well, how's it gone for you? I've been following this protocol. Well, how's your gut? Or how's your skin? It's not good. Well, how long have you been on this diet for? Or 6 months, a year, longer? And they still haven't got over their problem, and yet they continue to follow this diet. And that's a difference between actually getting in and changing things internally and changing that terrain, because these bugs, these protozoa, these bacteria that are in your gut, they've been around for millions of years, and they will infiltrate you and they will take you over and they'll proliferate, and if you don't change them, then your problems will just come back. And this is where the real problem occurs, because you can't go around eating rubbish, living in a bad way for 5, 10, 15, 20 years and expect to get long-lasting results in 30 days. These things take time. These things take time to embed, and once you start removing toxins and then layers of bugs and parasites, etc., you might feel a lot better after 30 days. Of course you have, because you started to take away all the things that really toxify you, and you started to heal yourself internally. But then you go back to doing what you did before, and all of a sudden the problems come back. That's why you've got to implement different bacteria in your gut. You've got to let them proliferate, the good bacteria, and you've got to continue to make lifestyle factors and lifestyle choices that are going to hold back the toxic onpour, I should say, keep reducing that toxic load, because as you remove toxins and heavy metals and parasites, etc., the more bugs leave, etc., and it's an ongoing cycle. And I've had people come to me and say, well, my doctor said this diet's brilliant, and I've been on it. Well, how do you feel? Not great. Cool. What do they say to have? And this is even with someone with gut issues. A doctor, 7 years of medical school, but no years of nutrition. And they said, well, how many foods have you been eating? Oh, 5 foods. What have they been telling you to eat? Oh, bread, pasta, biscuits, and a banana. I was like, brilliant. Like the what's what of what not to eat if you've got a gut issue. And it's just a complete nightmare. I mean, especially a lot of these people as well, nutritionists out there as well, that are giving people lots of advice and they've never actually had a problem themselves. So they're giving this, lots of things are great in theory, but when you start to do them in practice, all of a sudden these things crop up and they don't know where to turn. All of a sudden they stop replying to people, and that's what winds me up. A lot of these things are just done as well straight out of programs. There's no room for individuality on it. Everyone's biochemistry is different, everyone's mental state is different, so they're going to react a lot differently to a program than someone else. And this is why, even with certain supplements, I always say you can start throwing things in, adaptogenic herbs, different supplements, whatever it is, but they're never going to get to the root cause unless you start to really make those changes when it comes to your lifestyle. I mean, I put posts up all the time about different, maybe green drinks or different products I might use, etc. But it goes in coherence with a lifestyle where I'm continually reducing my toxic load, continually eating organic foods, exercising, breathing correctly, etc., etc., etc. You can't just, it's the same thing as green string. If your supplements, you've got a green string and it's not organic, for example, it doesn't matter if it's green. It's just it's just toxic poison. The amount of pesticides, larvicides, insecticides, etc. that's sprayed on that, it doesn't make a difference if it's green. You're just digesting poison. It's just going to make your system even worse. Don't make yourself feel good just because you're having something green. Make sure it's high quality over quantity all the time. And as I said before, you can be doing all these things and then you start, every day you're brushing your teeth, washing in toxic water, cooking your food in toxic water. If you've got a chronic issue, these are things that are a problem, and these things all add to your load. So whenever you go through, yeah, okay, some people may not need a bigger program than others. Some people have got very, very deep line issues. They've got deep line toxicity. See lots of women, for example, come to me who've worked in salons or have worked in beauty therapy places, and they're just exposed to some of the harshest chemicals known to man, not 24/7, but 12 hours a day, and they're wondering why their skin's so bad, they're wondering why they're really tired, wondering why they're allergic to all these problems, because the toxicity is deep rooted, and you need to change your terrain, you need to modify your terrain. So it all comes in place, guys. You can't just take away things for 30 days and expect to get rid of chronic issues, and you can't just keep following a plan that's not working for you, expecting things to change. As Albert Einstein said, doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results is insanity. So you've got to take away these toxins and make lifestyle choices that are going to keep on raising your health, as well as changing your internal terrain. Keep modifying it, keep putting in the good foods, the good bacteria, etc., which is going to make your insides much more favourable to health than disease. And you can keep throwing pills and stuff at disease, keep fighting disease, but that's not going to get you anywhere fast. It's going to keep you on a cycle of keep on having pills. There's a pill for every ill, for example. But when you start to regenerate health, you learn that healthy people don't get these diseases, and it might take a little bit of time to implement some of these things, but it will be well worth it in the long run. So stop going to all these cookie cutter diets and taking all these magic pills that are just wasting your money. You might get a short-term benefit, but long-term they're not going to do you anything. You need to stick with a plan for a while, especially if you've got something like a fungal infection. You're going to need to be on an antifungal diet for 3 months at least, and that's because you give these little critters an inch, they're going to take a mile. So, you know, if you've got a chronic condition, if you're dealing with a skin issue, gut issue, adrenal problems, thyroid issue, whatever it is, take time and do things properly, and change your terrain, limit your toxic exposure, keep building your health, breathing right, great water exposure, vitamin D, etc., etc. It's going to go a long way. Okay, guys? Anyway, that's my rant for today. But unless you do those things, and unless you've got someone probably to help you go through them, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to always struggle. Anyway, as always, stay happy, stay healthy. I'll speak to you soon.